YouTube, welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Eamon. This is my 2017 BMW 330, which of course means it has the B46/B48 engine. But if you watch my channel, you'll know already this is not a stock car. So this car has a Bootmod3 Stage 1 tune on it. I did a full video on that before. I wanted to get some impressions of the car and see what it feels like before I really did like a review and told you guys my opinion about it. But not only does it have the flash tune, although that's going to be the main thing affecting performance, it does have a few other small mods, which I will show you guys really quickly if you're new here. So in addition to the actual flash tune, we have two other mods on the car, which we'll be able to better see if I remove this piece here. So we have a Keys Motorsports aluminum charge pipe, which is really just mainly for safety. And then we have a BMS cold air intake. If you guys want either of these for your car, I will leave a link down in the description below. Obviously, they're meant for the B46/B48, which if you didn't know is the turbo 4-cylinder, which comes on these 330s, the 430, the 230, pretty much anything that ends with 30 from BMW, at least in the recent years. So yes, that does mean that this car is a 4-banger. Now, I know a lot of people get triggered by that because a lot of people love the 6-cylinder BMWs. Like there's currently so much hype around the BMW B58, which is the new turbo 6-cylinder, and a whole bunch of BMWs like the 340s, even the new Supra. So it is super popular. It's a great motor, it's a great engine. It's obviously better than this one here. This one is the 4-cylinder, so it is more, economical. It's not as fast, but it's better on fuel economy. But I know a lot of people love these engines, and I do too personally. I have this car as my daily driver. Again, if you guys watch my videos, you'll know, but I have two other BMWs. One is a 435, which has the N55. So that is the previous turbo 6-cylinder that BMW used to make. And I also have an X3 M40, which has the B58. So they're definitely amazing engines to anyone who owns them. I'm not saying that the B48 is better, but I do think the B48 is amazing value for the dollar. Like you can get a 330 for so much less than you can get a 340. And although the B48 doesn't have too much power stock, I think it's about like 255 to the crank. I think with this BM3 Stage 1 tune, it should feel a lot faster, but that's pretty much what we're going to be talking about in this video. So being that I own two relatively new BMW 6-cylinder turbos like the B58 and the N55, I thought it might be cool to now compare this tuned 4-cylinder BMW to like a stock N55, stock B58. Both my other cars are tuned, but obviously I did drive them while they're stock. So I am familiar with all of them, the B48, the B58, the N55. So just a lot of things to kind of compare this one to. So it's definitely worth noting, guys, this is not going to be a detailed or even professional review. I'm just some dude who makes YouTube videos for fun. I love driving. I love BMWs. I have a few of them. So I figured maybe my opinion might be slightly valuable. Probably not at all. But either way, don't take this video too seriously. It's just for fun. Again, all just my personal opinions. I'll try to throw in some facts and some things that you guys might have not known already. But regardless, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video nonetheless. All right, so with all that out of the way, guys, you know what this car is, you know what mods it has. Let's just go back inside away from the super loud wind. All right, so as we drive around for a little bit and let the car warm up, I want to talk to you guys about something that, a lot of people ask, and that's how much power can you really expect out of a Stage 1 flash tune. So I think I mentioned it previously in the video, but this car comes with about 250 horsepower to the crank stock and about 260 pound-feet of torque. So it is definitely a good amount, especially if you guys compare it to like a Honda Civic Si or like a Toyota FRS. So I did find on a website, the same one I actually talked about in my 435 video, that you can get up to 260 wheel horsepower out of this B48 on Stage 1 BM3. That is with 93 octane. And if you do 91 octane, you can get up to 255 wheel horsepower. Now, obviously, I didn't run this car on a dyno myself personally, but those numbers do sound pretty accurate. If you have about 255 crank horsepower stock, you probably have about like 220 wheel horsepower stock. So that's about like maybe a 40 horsepower gain, which is a really good amount. And that website unfortunately did not mention the torque figures, at least not that I could see. But if I had to guess, I would say you're probably also gonna get like another 40 or 50 pound-feet of torque, which is a good amount, guys. All right, so now that we have a bit of clear road, let's give it a quick pull and see what it feels like. Yeah, man, this honestly really feels good. Now, I'm not gonna say this is the most torquey motor out there. I think that's one of the big differences that I can feel personally between this and like a B58 or N55. This thing just doesn't feel like it has too much torque. Maybe it has to do with when the boost kicks in. I can't really say for sure, but I know for a fact that the N55 and the B58, they just kind of hit a little harder. You feel the power a little more immediately. Again, just overall, it feels more torquey, but this definitely still feels good. Obviously, if you drop down a gear, Yeah, this thing still feels good, honestly. So once you're kind of just cruising, it does feel good. The transmission will know to drop down a gear, get you more power. If you use the paddle shifters, it's even easier to kind of get into that right RPM and feel the power. But let's see while we're on this red light, once it turns green, we'll give it a quick launch and see what it feels like from a dig. So I tried to stay quiet during the launch just to see what it really feels like. And it was very interesting. So I mean, right off the bat, the first launch, like you don't really feel that, you know, intense getting put back in your seat. But after every gear, every time it upshift, you still felt like it kind of put you back a little bit, which was very interesting because whenever I launched the N55 or the B58, although you get that initial, like, you know, just like getting set back in your seat, all cars, by the way, are all-wheel drive. This one, I didn't really feel that, but I got that with like each gear. I don't know, I haven't really felt that with any other car, so it definitely was interesting. But overall, especially compared to stock, when I launched this car when it was stock, like it was honestly so anticlimactic. It really felt like very little, if anything at all. Whereas with the Stage 1 tune, you do feel it more. Again, it's not gonna knock your socks off, guys. Like this tune is not gonna make this car go from like, you know, just a normal economy car to like a B58 killer. I do, however, think that this car, while tuned on Stage 1, is pretty comparable to my N55 when it was completely stock. I do still think that car felt more torquey, but this thing definitely feels pretty comparable in terms of power. And that's not to say that this car doesn't feel torquey, guys. It just doesn't feel as torquey, in my opinion, to the N55 and the B58. I think the best way to drive this car is in manual mode. That way you can really control what gear you're in, what RPM you're in, and how much torque you're getting. Obviously still not a race car, and in terms of suspension, guys, it's still on stock suspension, stock tires, so you know it doesn't handle as well as like my 435 or something like that. So while we're at a standstill, let's try to do a quick launch. So if we activate launch control, let's just give it a quick launch while rolling. We'll drop down to the lowest gear. This definitely feels fast, man. Let's just do a quick pull on the highway and see how it does. Yeah, definitely not gonna knock your socks off, guys. Again, this car, it's fast, but it's not stupid fast. But it is definitely faster than it was stock. So I know I keep on repeating obvious things, but BMW did not make this car to be their fast car, right? Like they have an M3, they have a 340. If you really want to go like fast, those are the cars for you. Even this car on Stage 1 is not going to compete with those. But if you want a lot of car for the money, I think the B48 is fantastic. I also think it's an amazing daily driver. It gets really good gas mileage. I've gotten like up to 36 miles per gallon on this car, which is insane. I didn't get that good gas mileage on my Honda Civic. So I figured I'd stop for a little bit just so I can talk to you guys a little better. Also, I can open up a window because it is getting super hot. My contacts are literally like drying out and I'm sweating like crazy. But anyways, if you guys get a 330 or a 430, 230, whatever car it is with the B48, and you do want a little more power, however, you don't want to invest in BM3 because BM3 can get expensive. It's about $600 for the license, another like $50 for the map. And then you have to get like the cables and all that to connect it to your car. So it can get pricey. You do obviously have a lot more flexibility. So I was able to tune the burbles on this car with boot mode. And then I'm also able to go Stage 2. However, if you guys only want a little more power, and that's pretty much it, look into the JB Plus. I made a few videos about it. I actually put one on my X3 M40. Those things get you about the same amount of horsepower. You don't have all the flexibility. It's pretty like fixed. You just put it on and that's it. You can't tune your burbles. You can't do anything like that. But it's only about like $240. So if that's what you want to do, definitely consider it. It's a lot more cost effective and you get very similar horsepower. Again, obviously you can't go Stage 2 on that, but you can with BM3. But like I said, guys, if your goal is just to get a little more horsepower, look into that. All right, guys, so as you can see, we are back home now. Maybe just some final thoughts about this 330. So the B48 with Stage 1 BM3. Overall, it definitely feels way faster than stock. And honestly, I do think it's pretty comparable to the 435 with the N55 when it was completely stock. I will say though, the N55 and the B58 definitely feel a lot more punchy. I don't know if it's because the turbo kicks in sooner or it's just simply torque. I don't know what it is exactly. Again, I'm not a professional race car driver or anything like that, but the B48 just doesn't feel as punchy, if that makes sense. Like, you don't feel like that initial hit as much. So what I guess I'm trying to say, and I've been saying, is this thing is definitely quick. It is a great daily driver. If you guys do want more power out of it, and you want to have a little more fun out of it, look into BM3, look into a JB Plus. But if your main goal is to go fast, really fast, look into getting a 435 or like a 340 or something like that, because the 4-banger is great. You get a lot of car for the money, but I still do think like a 435 with the N55 or just anything with the N55 and the B58, they just feel different. That's inherent, right? It's a 4-cylinder versus 6 cylinders. It's not a fair comparison. I know this is still a fantastic motor for what it is, but just to kind of help put things into perspective a little bit. Yeah, anyways, I know that was a lot of personal opinion, just my thoughts, you know, from someone who just owns these cars and enjoys these cars. But hopefully it was entertaining regardless, and it gave you a little insight on what to expect with a car like this on stage 1. I will look into going stage 2 on this car. I don't know if I'm going to do a catless downpipe. Maybe I'll do like a high flow catted downpipe. So if you guys want to see that, definitely let me know down in the comments below. But anyways, that pretty much wraps up this video. So if you guys enjoyed it, make sure you drop me a like, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.